Wind howled across the god's eye as a crimson shape burst from the clouds. Caraxes the Bloodworm, his wings ragged, his belly torn, but his roar still strong enough to rattle the towers of Harrenhal. Below, Prince Daemon Targaryen leaned low in the saddle, black cloak snapping like a banner, eyes fixed on the bronze-green shadow of Vhagar circling above. Two dragons older than most kingdoms, two riders driven by hate and prophecy, rushed toward one another in a spiral of teeth, talons, and flame. It was the clash that would echo down centuries, the duel that would write the final line of Caraxes' legend, yet his story began long before the waters of the god's eye swallowed his corpse. Let us unfurl that tale. Greetings, my fellow dragon seeds. If deep dives into the blazing heart of Westerosi and ancient Valyrian lore set your blood racing, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe so the Citadel's ravens know to carry more secrets to your rookery each week. Today we trace the life of Caraxes, broodmate to none, scourge of stepstones. Mount to princes both beautiful and dangerous. We will weigh his size, meet his riders, relive his greatest battles, and stand witness to his spectacular death. Sharpen your quills while I lead you down this storied path. Caraxes hatched in the Dragonmont during the reign of King Jaehaerys I, likely around 72 AC. Though not the largest worm of his generation, he earned the sobriquet Bloodworm for his coloring. His scales the hue of fresh arterial spray, eyes like rubies glowing in a forge. Where Balerian's frame was colossal and Vhagar's wings cast towns into twilight, Caraxes cut a leaner profile, long of neck, narrow in chest, a predator built for speed and vicious turns rather than sheer mass. Maesters estimated his wingspan at roughly 100 feet by the time of the dance. Half again the width of the Red Keep's maiden vault. His body stretched near 200 feet snout to tail, and sailors swore the arc of his serpentine neck let him snap foes behind him without breaking flight. More distinctive was his roar, a shrill, scraping scream that folklore claims could crack harbor bells. Yet Caraxes' true terror lay in temperament. Even dragon keepers, including Valyrian blood, found him restless, quick to anger, slow to calm. Unlike placid Silverwing or proud Vermithor, Caraxes seemed to revel in battle. Historians argue that his riders did not merely direct him, they loosed a living weapon barely contained by human will. Prince Aemon, the old king's heir apparent, claimed Caraxes in 83 AC. For 9 years they forged a bond of disciplined ferocity. Aemon drilled daily in the dragon pit, teaching Caraxes bank dives and sudden ascents that would later terrify corsairs. In 92 AC, when Myrish pirates raided the Stepstones and harassed the shores of Tarth, Aemon answered in fire and blood. Accounts describe the Bloodworm streaking over pirate galleys, talons ripping masts like parchment. Yet fate struck not from the sky but the deck. A crossbow bolt felled the prince. Caraxes returned riderless, keening so loudly that Dragonstone's towers trembled. For 5 restless years, the dragon prowled his smoky lair, snapping at anyone foolish enough to approach. Some keepers feared he would turn feral, join cannibalistic wild worms on Dragonstone's far side. Instead, destiny knocked in the form of a second prince, one as unruly as the beast. Daemon Targaryen, the rogue prince, tourney champion, and brother to King Viserys, took one look at the red fury chained in the pit and felt a mirror of his own soul. In 97 AC, Daemon approached unarmed, speaking softly in High Valyrian. Witnesses claimed Caraxes sniffed him, exhaled a plume of smoke hot enough to blister paint, and knelt. Thus began a partnership that would reshape the Narrow Sea. Daemon, alongside Corlys Velaryon, waged private war against the Triarchy. The Bloodworm became a nightmare for Lysene and Myrish fleets. He swooped so low his wingtips sliced rigging. He set warships aflame with crimson breath, then herded burning hulks into enemy harbors. At Bloodstone, Caraxes supposedly burst from a morning fog like a scarlet lightning bolt, torching 3 hulks before they could raise anchors. Sailors coined a prayer, "Mother, grant me death on land, that I not meet the Bloodworm at sea." Caraxes and Daemon spent nearly a decade ruling the Stepstones as self-styled king and dragon. The dragon grew leaner but stronger, muscles corded from endless sorties, wings scarred by scorpions and storms. By the war's end, Triarchy admirals budgeted more gold for anti-dragon ballista than for hulls. In 129 AC, realm-shattering civil war erupted between Queen Rhaenyra and Aegon II. Daemon and Caraxes flew to Rhaenyra's cause, black banners snapping beneath a blood-red mount, a living banner of Targaryen might. The taking of Harrenhal. Daemon led a lightning assault on Harrenhal, Vhagar's former roost. Caraxes swooped through the broken towers, flames licking stone, still scarred by Balerion a century prior. Sir Simon Strong yielded without a fight, claiming the dragon's scream had shaken dust from walls untouched since Harren's ruin. With Harrenhal secured, Caraxes patrolled the Trident. He burned supply trains meant for Aegon's army, scattering levies like leaves before a storm. Stories spread of farmers glimpsing the Bloodworm's shadow racing across wheat fields. Children hid under beds at the sound of distant thunder, fearing it might be his wings. Yet one warrior remained undaunted. Prince Aemon, One-Eye Targaryen, rider of Vhagar, older yet mightier. Caraxes launched from Harrenhal's ruined towers as Daemon spotted Vhagar gliding low over the lake. Autumn leaves spiraled across black water. 2 dragons, perhaps the last great weapons of old Valyria, closed in a dance as old as dragonkind. Caraxes climbed fast, sun at his back, then stooped talons forward, aimed at Vhagar's left wing. Witnesses on the lakeshore described an impact like mountains colliding. Caraxes' screaming roar shattered a dozen willow branches. Vhagar's deeper bellow answered, shaking ripples across the god's eye. Aemon urged Vhagar into a barrel roll, jaws snapping. Caraxes, slimmer and quicker, twisted aside, his tail whipping across Vhagar's snout. Blood sprayed the sky in crimson and green arcs. Daemon, seeing Caraxes entangled, performed an act sung by minstrels ever since. He unbuckled and leapt from Caraxes' saddle, Valyrian's steel dagger in hand, landing upon Vhagar's neck. Steel met scale. Prince met kinslayer. Fallen death. Locked together, the dragons plummeted. Caraxes' jaws clamped on Vhagar's throat, tearing through windpipe and burning sax-alike. Vhagar's talons raked Caraxes' belly, spilling intestines that streamed behind him like red pennons. They struck the lake with a thunderous hiss steam erupting as dragonfire met water. Caraxes, though mortally wounded, dragged himself onto the lake's isle, roaring defiance until his heart burst. Vhagar's corpse sank, bones lost to silt. Daemon's body was never found. Some claim he perished in the fall. Others whisper he survived to live under a false name. But Caraxes' legacy ended there. His skull later fished from reeds, preserved in the Red Keep as grim trophy. Caraxes combined ferocity with uncanny agility. Where Vermithor crushed foes by weight, the Bloodworm outmaneuvered them, coiling mid-air to snap it soft under wing tissue. His breath burned less hot than Balerion's black flame, but its stream lasted longer, useful for strafing ship decks. He responded swiftly to High Valyrian, but seemed to relish improvisation. Daemon claimed Caraxes once feinted retreat, only to flip upside down and rake the pursuing dragon moondancer from below. Scholars debate whether this reflects draconic intellect or rider instinct. Perhaps the line blurs when mind and dragon bond entwine. In Valyrian lore, red denotes life and death. Fitting, then, that Caraxes embodied both. To Stepstoners, his crimson wings heralded doom. To Rhaenyra's faction, they promised justice. Artists later painted him as thin and serpent-like, contrasting the bulky dragons of Aegon's conquest. Some maesters argue his wiry frame foretold later dragons shrinking after the dance, though correlation is unproved. From a crimson hatchling in the Dragonmont to a battered titan gasping on the shore of the God's Eye, Caraxes carved his saga across 3 reigns and 2 wars. He outlived his first rider, crowned his second, shattered fleets, toppled towers, and in dying took the greatest dragon alive with him. Some say his scream still echoes over the lake on stormy nights, a reminder that dragons are fire made flesh, and fire remembers. If this journey through the Bloodworm's life kindled your curiosity, tap that subscribe glyph and let the ravens know you hunger for more tales of wing and flame. Until next we meet, keep your quills sharp, your wit sharper, And may your dreams never lack the roar of dragons.